You see? So I'm going to go and read Genesis 28 and 6, right? Let's get that right now. Genesis 28. Let's see. And 6, and dealing with Esau. Because we already read in Genesis 36 chapter that he took upon himself the daughters of Canaan as wives. Now the Canaanites, or the Hamitic nation of people, they were all black. Genesis 28 and 6 says, and when Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan Haram to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him charge, saying, thou shalt now take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother, and was gone to Padan Haram. And he saw, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac's father. Then Esau, all right, verse 9, that's the dagger right there. Then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Mahalah, the daughter of Ishmael's Abraham's sons, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife. So when we read verse 9 in Genesis 28, he took upon himself the daughters of Ishmael. Now what colors were the Ishmaelites of antiquity? The Ishmaelites of antiquity, the Canaanites or the Hamitic of antiquity, they were all black. Period, point blank. So how can one lonely, quote-unquote, so-called white person who took upon themselves two black women to bring forth seeds create a Caucasian race? That doesn't make any sense. The first generation right along would have been wiped out. You gotta ask yourself these questions. Esau was a quote-unquote black man, so-called black man, who married other melanated women. This is factual. So that totally crushes this whole ideology in regards of the white man being Esau. That cannot be substantiated with evidence dealing with the Torah. And especially when you look it up, and you look up the meaning of certain words, and you start dealing with our language, which is something that a majority of these camps don't like to go into. They don't like to study the language. You see? Hold on. They don't like to study the language. You see? They don't like to look the meaning of words. Because once you start going into the language, it totally crushes the whole premise of their falsehood and doctrine. Because you're going to find out that 99.9% of all the shit that they teach is just totally way off. And it's wrong. You see? So we just read that Esau took upon himself wives of the daughters of Canaan and the daughters of Ishmael to reproduce his nation. You cannot get no Caucasians or Europeans out of that. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a couple other precepts to show you on how you had certain Israelites, certain black people who got turned white, but they never were being referred to or described as being red. And I'm going to show y'all something right now. I'm going to go in the book of 2 Kings 5 and 27. And I'm going to show y'all something. Could just bear with me for a minute. Let's see. 2 Kings. 2 Kings 5. Let's see. All right. 2 Kings 5 and 27. All right. And it says, come on, let me see if I can get a better view. I'm going to just read it, man. 2 Kings 5 and 27. The leprosy, therefore, of Naaman shall cleave unto thee, and unto thy seed forever. And he went out from his presence a leper white as snow. It didn't even say red. It said white. White has snow. And the word for white in our language, I'm going to look it up right now. Let's see. The word white in our language is shalag. Shalag, which means snow. Shalag from H7949, snow probably from its whiteness. Now, what color is the snow? The snow is white, right? So the point I'm trying to make is simply this. When you read Genesis 25 and 25, in regards of red, it says abmaneh. It doesn't say shalag. If the word shalag was mentioned in Genesis 25 and 25, then all these camps out there that's teaching this falsehood and this lie, they would have had a premise. Hell, I would have had a premise too. Because at one point, I used to believe and go wholeheartedly and hardcore that white people were Edomites. But I had to sit down, I had to look over the scriptures, and especially in our language, to find out it was a falsehood. So that word right there, let me see. Shalag is not mentioned in Genesis 25 and 25. Because I got clearly just given an example, 2 Kings 5 and 27, in which a black person was turned white, but he was never referred to as being red. So that's another falsehood. I'm going to go to another scripture. Let me go to the book of Numbers. Let's see. Numbers 12. All right. Hold on. Numbers 12 and 10. All right. Numbers 12 and 10. It says, and a cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam and said, behold, she was a leprous. It says that she became leprous, white as snow. It didn't say that she became leprous, red as snow. Let's look up the meaning of the word white. Again, in our language. The word there, just like we read, is also shalag, which represents the snow. Now, what color is the snow? The snow is not red, the snow is white. But you notice that Esau was never referred to as being shalag or white. And there's a reason for that. It's because he was a black man. He was brown skinned. He had a brownish type complexion. See? So we're going to go to another one. We're going to go to Moses, man. And another, matter of fact, hold on. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole chapter just for the case, for the sake of time. But let's see. I believe it's Leviticus 13th chapter. All right. Because all the two precepts that I just read, 2 Kings 5 and 27 and Numbers 12 and 10, is all going into leprosy. And what also cuts his ideologies when you read the entire book of Leviticus, the 13th chapter, in regards to leprosy. Because these cats are saying that Genesis 25 and 25, that the so-called white man was being referred to as the red man. Then they'll turn around and say that the white man has a disease called leprosy. But when you read Leviticus, the 13th chapter, leprosy is being described as what? As having white skin, not red skin. So that totally crushes this old premise of Esau being quote-unquote red or so-called white. All you got to do is read the entire chapter of the book of Leviticus in regards of leprosy. So I'm going to go back to Exodus 4. Now I'm going to show you something about Moses, man. I'm going to start off with verse 6. It says, and Yahweh said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. So the Most High gave him instruction to put his hand into his own bosom. So when he put his hand into his own bosom and took it out, his hand became a leprous, as snow. So now let's look up the word snow in the language. The word there is what? Shalag. I'm gonna click on it. Snow. Now what color is the snow? The snow is white. Like I said before, when you read Genesis 25 and 25, the word shalag is not mentioned there. So therefore, so-called white people cannot be Edomites. That's a goddamn lie. That's a falsehood and a lie. Esau was ruddy just like Adam was ruddy, just like David and Solomon were all ruddy. And if Esau was a quote-unquote so-called white person, then that would mean that King David, King Solomon, and Adam were also quote-unquote white with translucent skin. That's something that a lot of these white supremacists are trying to perpetuate by saying that Adam, King David, and King Solomon were white based upon the word ruddy that they've been spewing for a long time. You see? So I'm going to go ahead and go back to Genesis 25. I'm going to show you another scripture that they like to utilize to justify this lie. I'm going to jump down to verse... Oh, matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and jump down to verse 30. All right, verse 30, it says, And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore, this was his name, called Edom. So they're trying to say that the red pottage was dealing with red meat, which is, and if you look at quote-unquote so-called white people today, they love to eat their meat raw. Well, we're going to look the word red pottage in a language to see if it's talking about actual meat. Let's see. So the word red pottage also goes back to the word hadam. We're going to show you what that red pottage was. The red pottage was ruddy. It had a type of brownish tap color. It could apply to a man. It could apply to a horse, a heifer, garment, water, or lentils. So when you read the whole context of Genesis 30 and 30, it's going into red lentils or ruddy lentils, brownish tap lentils. It's not going into red meat. That's a lie. And I'm going to further prove it with another precept in the same chapter. So I'm going to go back. So, matter of fact, this video, actually, all these different video series is for all the young brothers in all these different camps who are just coming into the truth, man. I need to get away from all these different camps, ideologies, falsehood, and doctrine.